launched.
Okay, you're on mute, but you're not.
Here are the 8 contestants preparing for today's show. Only one of them will win up to 10 toilet rolls. The others will leave with nothing when voted off as the weakest link. Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 8 people in the video call today could win up to 10 toilet rolls. They don't like each other, but to get the prize, they'll have to work together. However, 7 will leave with nothing, as round by round, we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Guy. My name rhymes with pie, lie, die, and I'm on furlough.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm also on furlough and I panic bought toilet roll before this episode, just in case I didn't do very well.
Hello, my name is Lisa. How long has it
Hi,
been?
I'm Nick. I've never used toilet roll.
Hi, I'm Pete. I'm working remotely and remotely working.
Hey!
Just to remind you of the rules, in each round there is 1 toilet roll to be won. The fastest way to do that is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Break the chain and you lose all the money in that chain. Say bank before the question is asked and the money is safe.
Thanks.
Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. And in computing, a website that no longer exists will often prompt the phrase "not found," preceded by what error code?
4104.
404. Guy, in a 1993 film directed by Steven Spielberg, what D is the general term for prehistoric creatures that attack the visitors of Jurassic Park?
Dinosaurs.
Correct. Jack, in retail, which breakfast cereal has the cartoon mascots Snap, Crackle and Pop?
Rice Krispies.
Correct. James, from which 1939 musical comes the lyric "Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high"?
Wizard of Oz.
Correct. Lisa, in optics, what is the opposite of white?
Black.
Correct. Nick, in the kitchen, washing up gloves are usually made from what material, rubber or leather?
Rubber.
Correct. Pete, in hobbies, the long thin rods used to hold the stitches when making garments with wool are called knitting what?
Needle.
Correct. Rebecca, in the UK general election held in May 2010, which political party won the largest number of seats but not enough for an overall majority?
Conservatives.
Correct. Anne, at
Stop,
the
stop,
seaside...
stop, stop.
Hank. Okay. At the seaside, children use buckets and spades to build castles made of which granular substance?
Sand.
Correct. Guy, in video games, what is the name of Mario's brother from the popular Nintendo franchise?
Region.
Correct. Jack, in literature, the 16th and 17th century playwright with the surname Shakespeare had what first name?
William.
Correct. James, in a standard pack of 54 cards, how many jokers are there?
2.
Correct. Lisa, in humans, the short hairs called lashes are found on what part of the body? On elbows or eyelids?
Eyelids.
Correct. Nick, which Shakespeare play features the 3 witches?
Macbeth?
Correct. Pete, in geography, the Great Lakes are in the United States and which neighbouring country?
Canada.
Correct. Rebecca, in the
Fine.
British military, the three main armed services are the Army, the Royal Navy, and the Royal what?
Air Force.
Correct. Anne, in terminology, a tune or song that becomes stuck in one's head is colloquially known as an ear what?
What do you know?
The answer was worm, earworm. You won 140 sheets, but you had a chain of 9 correct answers, so you could have reached the 1 toilet roll target. Who doesn't look up to the challenge ahead? Who will lose you toilet paper in the rounds to come? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Oh, it's horrible.
I don't like this bit.
It's gonna be hard.
Rebecca is the strongest link in this round, having got all her questions right and banked the most. Anne is the weakest, being the only player to have got a question wrong. But what will the teams think? Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link. Anne, okay, Guy. I can't, you've got to say it out loud. Jack. Right, skip Jack. James. You've got to say it out loud. Lisa.
I feel harsh.
Nick.
It's not quick enough.
Rebecca. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Rebecca.
Sorry. Anne.
Okay, can I confirm? Can I confirm Anne's vote because she didn't say anything?
Pete, I put.
Okay, you need to say it out loud because I got to write
Right.
it down.
Did you get mine, Josh?
No, Jack, what was yours?
Rebecca.
Rebecca and James.
Anne, Brexit means Brexit.
James, you still need to.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like to change my vote.
you can't change your vote.
Oh, James.
Okay, Guy. Guy, what is it that you do for a living? You don't.
No one
You
knows.
don't unmute your microphone.
Unmute the microphone.
Can you not hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't
Yeah,
hear
It's
you.
a ventriloquist.
I do furlough. It's quite popular at the moment. It's an emerging market.
Mhm.
emerging
And
field.
is not knowing how to unmute your microphone important to being furloughed?
I can do that, but does it make a difference?
Hmm. Why Rebecca?
Isn't it? Maybe I should unmute it. Go
Tell you
into
what,
another
just mute it. We don't want to listen to that audio feedback. James, why did you vote for Anne?
Because she had a very difficult question about error. Okay.
Okay, we're not going to ask James either because it's really hard to understand what he said. Anne, what is it that you do?
I'm a scientist.
What kind of science do you do?
I make drugs.
Drugs. That makes a lot of sense based off your performance today. Anne, you are the weakest link. Wait a sec. Click that. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So, we move to round 2 and take 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Rebecca. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Rebecca, in astronomy, what star is the shortest distance from the planet Neptune?
Sun? What?
Correct. Guy, in art, in a piece of work known as a fresco, the paint is applied to which surface? Plaster or paper?
Plaster.
Correct. Jack, in communications, which word for the humming sound made by a bee in flight is also an informal term for a telephone call?
Jack.
Say something.
Muted.
You're on mute.
What was the question?
Time.
In communications, what word for the humming sound made by a bee in flight is also an informal term for a telephone call?
Ring.
Buzz. James, in science, are coal and oil renewable or non-renewable energy sources?
Non-renewable.
Correct. Lisa, in shopping, a kind of second-hand market is named after which small, blood-sucking insect?
Flea.
Correct. Nick, in the human body, which egg is a hormone excreted by the adrenal gland in times of
Adrenaline.
stress or response to a fright or a shock?
Adrenaline.
Correct. Pete, in Canadian geography, the provincial capital of British Columbia is named after which 19th century queen?
Pass.
Victoria. Rebecca, in the animal kingdom, even though the slow worm resembles a small snake, it's actually a type of what? Lobster or lizard?
Lizard.
Correct. Guy, in the words of the traditional children's song, she'll be coming round the what when she comes?
Mountain.
Correct. Jack, in human anatomy, which part of the nose is named after the type of engineering structure that carries a road across a river?
Bridge.
Correct. James, in the computer technology, what H is a person who gains unauthorized access to a computer system?
Hacker.
Correct. Lisa, what A is a substance that sticks two surfaces together?
Glue.
Adhesive. Nick, in language, is the word intelligent a noun or an adjective?
The adjective.
Correct. Pete, in food,
Pizza.
there wasn't time to finish the question.
Uh,
You won nothing that round.
Sorry.
Whose face is on a not wanted poster? Who's public
shit.
enemy number one? It's time to vote off the weakest link. Nick is the strongest link in this round, having got both his questions correctly. Pete is the weakest link, as he got his question wrong. But what will the teams think? Voting over, it's time to reveal out loud who you think is the weakest link.
Yeah.
Lisa.
Pete.
Jack.
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 Pete.
Rebecca,
Yeah.
why did you vote for your boyfriend Pete?
Because we had a good run go and he didn't bank and then he got the question wrong, so we lost it all.
Interesting, interesting. Pete, what do you think about that?
I think Jack wasted half the time pissing about, not knowing all about.
Sounds fair. Jack, what is it that you do for work?
Sound engineer.
Sound engineer. Should realize my. There we go. My lighting's much better now. Okay, Jack, you did pretty pathetic, as people noticed. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
It was a pleasure, everyone. I'll see you next week.
So we move on to round 3. 10 more seconds come off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Nick. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Nick, in pop music, the 2005 single by Tony Christie that spent 7 weeks at #1 in the UK was called Is This the Way to Where?
Umbrella.
Correct. Pete, which word meaning handiness precedes store to mean a local shop in an area that's usually open for long hours?
Hardware.
Convenience.
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca, in television, what series that ran from 2001 to 2011 focused on the teenage life of Clark Kent?
Smallville.
Correct. Guy, in military history, the Philippines were occupied by Japanese forces during which World War?
World War II.
Correct. James, in nature, sand, cow, and hammerhead are types of which sea creature?
Shark.
Correct. Lisa, in geography, what Asian islands nation lies just off the southeastern coast of India?
Sri Lanka.
You already said I don't know. Nick, in sport, the
that's
American basketball player Irvin Johnson became known by what nickname that is an alternative word for sorcery?
Magician.
Magic Johnson. Pete, in maths, what is 78 plus 47?
100 and 15.
125. Rebecca, in transport, a car used for teaching learners that can also be driven from the passenger seat by the instructor is known as a dual what?
Control.
Correct. Guy, in poetry, a haiku is a Japanese poem that consists of how many lines?
3.
Correct. James, in religion, a famous passage from the Bible in the 23rd Psalm begins with the line, "The Lord is my what?"
Shepherd.
Correct. Lisa, in theatre, the 1903 play by George Bernard Shaw is entitled Man and What? Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Superman. Nick, in science, a stamen and stigma are parts. We're out of time. You improved on last round, but you only banked 5 sheets of toilet paper. Whose brain is smaller than a raisin? Who thinks cucumber tastes amazing? It's time to vote off the weakest link. In the third round, Guy is the strongest link, having answered all his questions correctly and in the fastest time. Pete is the weakest link, as he got his questions all wrong. But what will the teams think? Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Pete.
Lisa.
Pete.
Rebecca.
Pete. Again.
Okay. Interesting. So Lisa, what is it that you do?
I'm a teacher.
Yeah, what do you teach?
My own language, I try to at least.
And what language is that?
It's German.
Oh, And why do kids need to learn German? Sounds like a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, that's what many think.
Yes. Anyway, why did you vote for Pete?
Because he's again didn't bank.
Okay. You got the same number wrong as him, though.
But I banked.
This is true. Let's see. Nick, what is it that you do?
I work for a renewable energy company.
So, sounds pretty.
Yeah, and what? What do you do?
Sounds like a pretty terrible thing to do.
Saving the bloody planet.
Yeah. What an idiot. Why did you vote for Pete?
No, 11, but didn't bank in the last round. 2 questions wrong. Maths one, which I understand the pressure, but I think he's just got to go now. He's holding us back.
Pete, what do you do?
Me.
Yes. You.
I'm a sets engineer.
River Police, interesting. What does that involve?
Yeah, bit of this, bit of that.
Anyway, Pete,
Up and down the banks.
Pete, you were the weakest link, and you have been voted the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm really disappointed actually. I felt like I was just getting into my groove.
You are, mate.
So we move on to round 4. 10 more seconds come off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round, and that was Guy.
Oh, I like
Let's
that.
play the weakest link. Start the clock. Guy, on a standard dartboard, which number is situated at the bottom directly opposite 20?
3.
Correct. James, in music, Dark Side of the Moon and The Wall are albums made by which artist?
Pink Floyd.
Correct. Lisa, in literature, Robert Galbraith is a pseudonym of which famous author?
Oscar Wilde.
J.K. Rowling. Nick, a person who works full-time and gets paid fortnightly would receive how many paychecks in 1 year?
24.
26. Rebecca, in politics, during a party conference speech in 1980, Margaret Thatcher famously declared, "The ladies not for what?"
Turning.
Correct. Guy, in the kitchen, what L is a term for a closet or small room used for storing food?
Say again?
In the kitchen, what L is a term for a closet or
Larder.
small room? Correct.
Larder.
James, in television, the show Frasier, starring Kelsey Grammer, was a spin-off of which TV series?
Cheers.
Okay. Correct. Lisa, in customs,
Bang.
which item of cutlery was traditionally carved from wood by Welshmen for their sweethearts?
Say again, please.
In customs, which item of cutlery was traditionally carved from wood by Welshmen for their sweethearts?
A spoon.
Correct. Nick, in fashion, the signature look of the Italian designer Robert Cavalli is a pattern of what? Animal print or tartan?
Animal print.
Correct. Rebecca, in contemporary art, what's the blood relation between the 2 prominent British artists known as Jake and Denis Chapman?
Brothers.
Correct. Guy, which French word
Bang.
meaning crib is used in English to refer to a day nursery or a supervised play area for young children?
Crash.
Correct. James.
Bang!
Oh.
You won just 10 sheets. Too late.
More than one sheet.
Who unironically likes Nickelback? Who's the minister for morons? It's time to vote off the weakest link. In that round, Guy was the strongest link, having banked and got all his questions correct. Nick was the weakest link, as he didn't bank and he got one of his questions wrong. But what will the teams think? Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Nick. Sick.
Nick.
Nick.
Lisa. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, James, what do you like to do?
Touch animals.
What is it about touching animals you enjoy?
Just the kind of fuzziness that I feel.
And what do you think the animals think about this?
Depends on the animal and the time of day.
James, you're a pervert. Lisa, why did you vote for Nick?
Because Nick didn't answer one question correctly.
whoa!
He did answer one question correctly, but he also answered one question incorrectly, like you.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Nick, why Lisa?
Because she probably did as bad as me.
Yeah, she did bank though, so you were statistically the weakest link.
7.
Nick, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't click. Oh, god damn it. Let's click that again. There we go.
Rather than I needed tissue paper. No.
Oh no.
I have no idea what he said.
So, round 5. 10 more seconds come off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. It's Guy again. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Guy, in music, the Thin White Duke, Ziggy Stardust, and Aladdin Sane are alter egos of which singer?
David Bowie.
Correct. James, in geography, which is the largest ocean in the world?
The Antarctic.
It's Pacific. Lisa, in sport, Anna Kournikova was a tennis player from which country?
Russia.
Correct. Rebecca, in literature, the novel War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy includes frequent mentions of which historical figure? Queen Victoria or Emperor Napoleon?
Napoleon.
Correct. Guy, in art, which surrealist painter born in 1904 was known for sporting a flamboyant upturned moustache?
Darling.
Correct.
Salvador.
James, in sport, who did England beat in a tied super over to win the 2019 Cricket World Cup?
West Indies.
New Zealand. Lisa, in history, the Wild West Outlaws, known as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, belongs to a gang called the Hole in the What?
Code.
Wall. Rebecca, in music, brothers Joe, Kevin, and Nick make up which famous American pop rock band?
The Jonas Brothers.
Correct. Guy, in entertainment, which radio series featured the characters of Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Correct. James, in chemistry, which element in the periodic table is denoted by the letter K?
Potassium.
Correct. Lisa,
Bank.
in objects, what is the total value of all sides on a standard 6-sided die?
$20.
21. Rebecca, in geometry, a rhombus has how many sides?
4.
Correct. Guy, in expressions, a long-awaited indication. You banked just in time. And because of the final bank, you managed to get 6 sheets of toilet paper. Who thinks Scrabble is a way to cook eggs? Who thinks lockdown includes a round trip to Durham? It's time to vote off the weakest link. This round, Guy was the strongest link again, having got all his questions correctly and having banked. James was the weakest link as he lost the most for the team. But what will they think? It's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Lisa.
Lisa.
James.
Lisa, sorry.
So, who haven't I asked what the job is of? Because I don't really know what to ask. Guy, what do you like to do?
You haven't
When
asked
you're not at
Rebecca,
work.
have you?
Yeah, it's Rebecca.
I'll ask Rebecca then. Rebecca, what do
Yeah?
you do?
I'm a social worker.
Helping people.
I try to.
Are you better at it than you are answering quiz questions?
I don't know, I'm pretty good at both of them, so.
That's actually
Bang.
fair. And why did, I'm freestyling. I don't know what I'm doing. Rebecca, why did you vote for Lisa?
Just because I think she was the only one that got any questions wrong in that round.
Well, I mean, James and Lisa both got 1 out of 3 of their questions correct, but
Oh. Sorry.
Lisa was picked on. James,
Lisa.
why did you vote for
Sexism.
Lisa?
Because she also got questions wrong. And because
Yeah, it makes sense for you. Okay. Lisa.
Yeah.
How do you say you are the weakest link? Goodbye in German.
Ich bin der schwächste Mitglied.
Yeah, that. Goodbye. Oh, messed up orchestra.
Das ist jetzt euer verdammt scheiße Ernst, ey? Was ist das für eine beschissene Sendung, ey?
So, we move on to round 6. 10 more seconds have come off the clock, and we'll start with the strongest link from the last round. For the 3rd time, I think now, it's
Wow.
Guy. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Guy, in literature, which book is the longest by page count in the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling? Can you repeat?
Goblet of Fire.
It's the Order of the Phoenix. James, in measurements, a hectare is a metric unit used to measure what?
like area, land.
Correct. Rebecca, in tennis, what word for a mistake or imperfection is used for an invalid serve?
Fault?
Correct. Guy, in definitions, people described as sinistrals are what? Left-handed or short-sighted?
Left-handed.
Correct. James, in sport, Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc are drivers for which Formula One team?
Ferrari.
Correct. Rebecca,
Frank.
in geography, what country is the most northeasterly in Africa?
Libya.
Egypt. Guy, in motoring, the Aventador and Murcielago are sports cars produced by which Italian manufacturer? Correct. James, in language, what is the German word used to describe a feeling of pleasure at someone else's misfortune?
Schadenfreude.
Correct. Rebecca, in alcoholic drinks, what name is given to the Greek white wine which is flavoured with pine resin?
Uzo?
Retsina. Guy, in nature, a group of owls is called what? Guy, you're very quiet. Parliament. James, in medicine, oxytocin is the medical term for bleeding from which facial feature?
Yes.
The answer was nose. You won just 10 sheets. Who has the swagger of a blagger? Which goose should be cut loose? It's time to vote off the weakest link. In the final round of voting, James is the strongest link, having gotten all his questions correct. Rebecca got most of her questions wrong, so she is the weakest link. But who will make it through to the final? Who's the weakest link?
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Rogo.
Rebecca, why have you voted for someone who's not even playing the game as far as the viewers are concerned?
I mean, we all got some wrong, but I think he and I both got the same amount, and Guy only got one wrong. So I guess it had to be
James
him.
was actually the strongest link in that round, having got all his questions correct.
Did he?
He did. Yeah,
I don't know what's going on anymore then.
that one we ran out of time on, therefore, but he would have still got most of his questions. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I think I mixed up my
Guy,
line.
why Rebecca?
Because she wasn't as strong as James, and I was the weakest. I think.
Fair enough. Guy, what's your reason for sending me a text message earlier on saying, are we going to vote Rebecca off for the weakest link in the first round? Is that the plan?
Because
Something like that.
if I remember rightly, in our Hangouts chat last week, someone else brought that up as a possible plan of action. So I was just trying to confirm whether or not that was happening.
Whom? I need to know.
I think
Very-
it's Jack, but I'm not going to spread any names around. I don't know.
It's very malicious, and although it took until round 6, you've got your way. Rebecca, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I just think it's convenient how it's 2 men left at the end, like always. That's all I've got to say.
Just watch the other episode, 3 women left at the end. That was on Monday. So, round 7. Because there's only 2 of you left, we'll only have 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round, we will triple before adding it to the total. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's James. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. James, in agriculture, a traditional English seed planting rhyme goes 1 for the rook, 1 for the crow, 1 to rot, and 1 to what?
Grow.
Grow. Guy, in games, excluding sequels and spin-offs, the Final Fantasy series has had how many original titles?
15?
Correct. James, in electronics, ohms is the standard derived unit to measure what?
Oh. Power.
Resistance. Guy, in the children's novel The Wind in the Willows, according to the character Ratty, there is nothing better than simply messing about in a what?
In a river.
Quote, James, in sport, what P is an alternative name for boxing that derives from the Latin term for fighting with the fists? Pugilism. Guy, in the history of dieting, it is said that towards the end of his life, William the Conqueror tried to lose weight by consuming only what? Alcohol or snails?
Alcohol.
That's correct, but you were out of time. Between you, you bagged 0 rolls of sheets of toilet paper, or rolls of toilet paper, it doesn't matter what the unit is. We will treble that and add it to the fight.
Yay!
That means that the grand total for today is 171 sheets, but there can only be one winner. Now we move on to the final round where you will have 5 questions each. If there's a tie, we'll go to sudden death. So, Guy and James, let's play the weakest link. As the strongest link in the last round, Guy, you will have the choice of who goes first.
Me.
Guy, in Romanian history, Vlad III, or Vlad the Impaler, is seen as the major inspiration for the titular character in which Bram Stoker novel?
Dracula.
Correct. James, in languages, what's the name of the last letter of the Greek alphabet?
Epsilon.
Omega. Guy, in film quotations, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. Is a line spoken by Kevin Spacey in which cult 1995 thriller?
7.
The Usual Suspects. James, in US geography, the District of Columbia is sandwiched between Maryland and which other state?
New York.
It's Virginia. Guy, in boating, what S is the side of a vessel that is on the right when one is facing forward? Sorry?
Stern?
It's starboard.
Oh,
James, in music, the waltz is a ballroom and folk dance typically associated with which time signature?
3-4.
Correct. Guy, what? This question's a joke. What is 210 plus 216?
26.
Correct. Oh, it's run out of final questions. I didn't add enough. So they will all be maths questions from now on. Or I could just make up some of the other questions.
Just make up some.
Makes of that.
Okay, James. What is the largest landlocked country?
China.
Kazakhstan. Guy, Jesus Christ, I don't have any questions. Guy, what is the largest country to only have one time zone?
Chile.
It's China. James, what does the D in COVID-19 stand for?
Disease?
Correct. So after
Hey!
5 questions, your scores are tied. Therefore, Guy and James, let's play sudden death. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Do you know I've read this either?
No, of course not. This is the same questions.
Okay.
So we'll do a last minute just.
Beat them again. Just beat them
Oh
again.
no! Wait. Why? Oh no! Why is it sharing that thing? There
Oh.
we go. This one's way less professional than when we had a separate person hosting.
Can we vote you off as the weakest?
That's out of the question. Okay. I have
You're up.
questions. James.
Yeah.
Or Guy, who is it?
Huh?
Is that the question?
These questions. Guy, in money before decimalisation in the UK, which unit of currency was equal to 240 pence?
Crown?
It's a pound. James. In nature, the 3-spined and the 9 or 10-spined are two species of which small fish commonly found in British streams and brackish waters?
Odd?
It's stickleback. Which means we get to go to another goddamn question. And I have to find the right tab. Wrong. Guy, in literature, which late Swedish writer, whose novels include The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, was named in 2010 by the Bookseller magazine as Europe's best-selling author?
Hendrik Mansell?
It's Stieg Larsson.
Oh, Steve Larson.
James, in nature, what is the only mammal that can fly?
The flying squirrel.
It's the bat. Guy, in geography, Svalbard is a northerly island territory which is part of which country?
Norway.
Correct. James, as I scroll through to find a question. In music, the score for the ballet called The Nutcracker was written by which Russian composer?
Tchaikovsky.
Right. Guy. In nature, lemurs are mammals native to which island?
Madagascar.
Correct. James. How many, sorry, what was the final Apollo mission where astronauts walked on the moon's surface?
11?
18. That means, Guy, you are today's strongest link, and you go away with 171 sheets of toilet paper.
Well,
James,
yeah.
you leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye. That was a right mess at the end, wasn't it?
It's quality.
Yeah, that was loads of fun.
I guess it's fun if it goes well.
Good job for you.
Well done, guy. Well done, time. Go, go.